So you want to make money online.
So the whole thing could have ended before it even started. That was 1995. And the first question every investor asked me was, what's the internet?
Cryptocurrency is having a notable impact on the world's financial markets, but it's also affecting the environment.
I am proud to announce that starting today, our company is now...
What do you mean we don't know exactly how it works? It was designed by people.
No, it wasn't. What we did was we designed the learning algorithm. That's a bit like designing the principle of evolution.
Let me guess. You probably have been scouring through the steep trenches for a while, looking for a cool business model that can make you a decent income online, so that you can quit your arduous job and live more comfortably. Or maybe you just want to go all out, like the influencers you see online that look so invincible they roam the earth as if they're gods.
You're broke! You're poor! You need to talk about me for content.
When you're an idiot, but like if you're a broke boy, just say so.
It feels almost like a fever dream, doesn't it? All the success and promises of glory presented to you. Your dream life awaiting. All the money and fame you're waiting to brag about to all your friends and family.
Alright, it's a cloudy day in Dubai. Very rare. It rained last night, believe it or not. How do you actually get rich quick?
The person you look forward to becoming after such a cold and lonely battle.
They're telling suckers like you that you should just £50 or how to start investing from shut the fuck up, $1. It's like a meme of how to start investing with no money. Shut the fuck up, bro.
And after all of it, becoming victorious. But the question is, will you really make it? At least that's what it felt like for me. Here's my story. It all started when I had to make the harsh decision to drop out of school because my mom couldn't afford the tuition anymore. And other stuff like COVID got in the way, which made her stay at home, so at the time, she couldn't go to work. So in other words, I had to let go of my dreams of becoming a telecommunications engineer behind. But either way, living in a third world country where the economy was completely bust didn't make getting a job easier, even with a degree.
Harare is struggling with waste collection and disposal. Water and sanitation infrastructure is crumbling, resulting in frequent disease outbreaks, and the air quality is being degraded by pollution from industries and an increasing number of vehicles.
So most people found no other refuge other than selling consumer products on the street due to the prevalent and ongoing financial crisis that has plagued our economy for decades. Just like them, I kinda had to find my own way, I guess. And the journey has been incredibly wild, dating back to when I started in 2020. I wanted to share my perspective a little, hoping that you'll learn a thing or two, especially if you want to dive into this confusing world that's saturated with so much misdirection and a whirlwind of false narratives of how you too could be rich from buying some program online or adapting the wrong mindset and falling on your face for years, like I myself did. With that being said, let's dive into this immersive world together. To get to the root of this pandemic, I wanted to understand how making money online was even a thing in the first place, and pretty much how it has evolved over the years. So let's go back to a time where everything was so simple and yet so inspiring. In my understanding, the concept of making money online became a thing that dated back as far as the early 90s, as personal computers were becoming a custom and preference in every American household. The internet during this time was an entirely new construct, and humanity was dawning into the information age. No invention in human history had ever touched so many lives, and inspired a vigorous spark within them, all envisioned by the scientist Nikola Tesla in the 1900s. This was the start of Web 1.0, also referred to as the static web. It housed three fundamental technologies that pieced it all together, which were HTML, which was the formatting language of the web, URL, which was the unique web address that we all used to find web pages, and finally, HTTP, which allowed the retrieval of all the information across the web. Although the internet was just a giant Wikipedia, which was all hyperlinked together, that only housed 50 web pages, in 1992, a few idealists believed it was going to be a huge deal in the years to come and change the world forever.
When you just take it for granted that any purchase you make, any new thing you want to plan like a trip, you turn to the web as part of that process. People today live a phone lifestyle and a car lifestyle. And they almost laugh when you say that to them because it's just so taken for granted.
A lot of smart, talented inventors and entrepreneurs were shining onto the scene, as the internet would generate $300 billion and would be responsible for 1/3 of the growth of the total US economy. It would become a key component of its culture and civilization, and the beauty of it was that nobody owned it. It was completely open source and free for everyone to use. This was the era where virtual stores and online auctions came to form. These pocket shop ideas ended up becoming an all-star company called Amazon, which was pioneered by Jeff Bezos in 1994.
Was there a moment you thought, I might not make it?
The riskiest moment for Amazon, Charlie, was at the very, very beginning. I needed to raise $1 million at a certain point, and I ended up giving away 20% of the company for $1 million.
It's a hell of a deal for somebody.
A lot of people did very well on that deal.
Although it started off with books, it would practically become the dawn of e-commerce, as companies like eBay would emerge, followed by resourceful companies like IndiaMart, which was founded in 1996, and EC Plaza, a Korean marketplace that was founded within that same year, same as the time where one of the greatest revolutions that we still use today would come into full being.
Email, baby. That's number one. I must get, I probably get 100 pieces of email a day. But at least 30 of them nowadays come from outside. They come from, hey, but I haven't seen you since you and I were in school together in 5th grade in Belgium. Do you remember me?
Although founded in 1971 by Ray Tomlinson, the most popular theory about email dates back to 1961, as over 100,000 websites grew since 1992. As time moved on, it became difficult to navigate the internet. To solve this would be the time where the most popular search engine in 1998 would be born, possessing the name Google.
I think that a company like Google with okay resources financially, not that big compared to many other companies, but nice technical resources, a lot of distribution, a lot of users, things like that. I think we have the potential to make very big differences, very big positive differences in the world.
Through the use of what they call backlink technology, they helped users explore the wider web, changing how we use the internet today. This era was marked as an experimental and innovative phase of making money on the internet, because nobody had an understanding of what the internet was and how to make a living from it. It kind of felt like the Wild West during this time, because only big companies like Apple, Microsoft, Yahoo, and revolutionary entrepreneurs of those fields had profound success, and all the other people were left in the dust, with the dot-com bubble affirming this reality.
I mean, on the way up, they were very boastful of what they were going to do. They were going to change the world.
Shares opened at $9 and jumped to $97 on its first day of trading.
A couple of other companies to keep an eye on this morning. We've got an alliance to tell you about in the drugstore internet space. Rite Aid is going to own 25.3% of drugstore.com.
I had one time to sell in the secondary offering, which netted me under $1 million, and I lost a lot of that trying to make more money by investing in other internet companies. Big mistake.
It didn't feel like there was much of a balance, or the gray area around it that we have today. One of the early complete forms of making money on the internet were banner ads. This was a form of advertising in the mid-90s, a format where advertisers sold ad space in order to generate revenue. One of the most popular pioneers for this was a company called DoubleClick, which was founded in 1995. The construct that made this all possible was a theme called Online Payment Gateway, or an online payment processor. The first popular online payment processor that's ever been made came to be in 1998 under the company Confinity, which later turned to X.com, and then finally into PayPal.
The initial thought was with PayPal was to create an agglomeration of financial services, so to have one place where all your financial services needs would be seamlessly integrated and work smoothly. And then we had like a little feature which was to do email payments. And whenever we'd show the system off to someone, we'd show the hard part, which was the agglomeration of financial services, which was quite difficult to put together. Nobody was interested. Then we'd show people email payments, which was actually quite easy, and everybody was interested.
This was also around the time where email marketing would become a solidified business model that would persist till this day, as more and more businesses and individuals alike would go forward with the process of registering their emails and start to use them for online transactions and registration tag to do everything online. This also led to the popularity of affiliate marketing, which we'll touch on later on. With all these concepts coming into place, would come to be the fundamental building blocks of the internet entrepreneurship that we know today. In the forming of Web 2, the internet was evolving and pivoting towards a system that actively engaged users, thanks to the advancements of web technologies like JavaScript, which was a programming language with first-class functions, CSS, a language for laying out and structuring web pages, and finally, HTML5, another programming language with first-class functions. All these technologies encourage the user to add rich content on the web instead of just viewing it. In the early 2000s, blogging started to become the central theme, given how Google had launched AdWords and started to purchase web companies like Blogger in 2002 to introduce AdSense, which made it possible for anyone to monetize their blog without the need to join a special network that provided blog ads. In summary, AdSense is an advertising service that would allow all kinds of businesses to launch a portal of their own campaigns. The Google ad system was and still is based partially on cookies as well as keywords.
So what is a cookie? It's a small file that websites place on visitors' browsers. The information in the cookie file travels back and forth between the browser it's stored on, say Firefox or Internet Explorer, and the websites the browser visits.
For many people, ranking on Google became an important figure as the company started to gain its peak popularity, paving the way to the dominance of SEO. Search engine optimization is how your website ranked on Google, from organic search results. This was when the internet started to become fully digital, as Amazon would come up with the lead idea of starting an online bookstore called Kindle in 2007 that made ebooks popular. This ended up leveling the playing field because any wannabe entrepreneur or anyone with a vision or a passion that they wanted to express now had the freedom and the chance to do so. All you needed was a domain and hosting site, and you could now have the share of the pie that big corporations devoured when it came to selling products. This was also a time where a sizable audience of over 1 billion people would emerge online from 361 million in the year 2000. This growth solidified the concept of personal branding on the internet and how building your own audience to market an affiliate product or even invent your own to sell to that audience started to come into form. Around this time would also be the scene where affiliate marketing would become solidified on the internet.
If you're looking to start affiliate,
which is called an affiliate,
there is a massive opportunity
to get your links from those affiliate programs.
So you can go off and make those sweet commissions.
To put it into summary for you, affiliate marketing is an advertising model that a company compensates third-party publishers to generate leads for the company's products and services for a commission fee. In my opinion, that's where things started to get a little warped, because the legitimacy of the products were pretty much based on how much you liked or trusted the person marketing it more than anything else. However, with the rise of online engagement led to the birth of social media. These were platforms where people from all over the world could interact with each other and exchange thoughts, ideas, opinions, and conversation. The most popular ones during this time were MySpace and LinkedIn. Having these spheres of influence would shift the culture of personal branding and evolve it even further.
Friendster, launched in 2002, quickly became widely popular by showing users not only how they were connected to others, but with a slicker presentation similar to online dating sites of the time. And of course, they also benefited from the shrinking stigma around meeting people online due to the internet's explosive growth.
The e-commerce business model started to become popularized and accessible to more people, as sites like Shopify would come to be in 2007, as it served as an online storefront for people who wanted to showcase or market their desired products on their own platforms. This business model would later be known as dropshipping. Another theme that came during this time was video content, as sites like YouTube and many others would take the scene, allowing all kinds of people to express themselves through video. However, this construct would only be taken seriously when YouTube would announce its partner program in 2007, which allowed creators to monetize their content through revenue sharing from ads that were being served on their content. For aspiring entrepreneurs and creatives, this gave them more exposure and led them to find creative ways to build an audience under a particular topic that they were enthusiastic about and serve that audience with affiliate products or a product of their own making. The most popular ones being an online course and an ebook. All these events coming into form would lead to social media gaining its meteoric rise, as platforms like Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram started to shift the culture of the internet.
And there was one
thing just going through my head. What? Like, how, in what world does a couple months of free posts on social media, in what world can that save a business? And in what world do people scroll on their phones, watch a 30-second video of a complete stranger, and then all of a sudden they're ready to book a call?
More brands and businesses were starting to create their own presence online to gain more exposure. This also created an opportunity for people who were familiar with growing a following online or driving traffic to their business, as these social media platforms started to offer advertising services to brand owners. This led to the popular business model that we know today as social media marketing. Web3 was the next step when it came to the evolution of the internet, as the internet started to get dominated by central monopolies like Google, Facebook, and Amazon. This led to a few extensive issues like data collection that was sold to advertisers and resulted into manipulative targeted ads, data breaching, as well as a lot of censorship and regulation from hierarchical groups like big tech and the government to the users of the internet.
Take it off the services
to make money
and to build tools that empower parents.
So you didn't take any action. You didn't take any action. You didn't fire anybody. You haven't compensated a single victim. Let me ask you this. Let me ask you this. There's families of victims here today. Have you apologized to the victims? Would you like to do so now?
Well,
they're here. You're on national television.
Although most of the public was not necessarily against all this, at the time, maybe due to ignorance. However, some individuals were completely revolted by this. Hacker groups like Anonymous expressed their sentiment, and all of a sudden in 2009, that's when blockchain technology made its public debut, under an infamous cryptocurrency known as Bitcoin.
Bitcoin is more than just a payment system. Satoshi Nakamoto, he wrote it as to ensure that, you know what, you could do escrow transactions, bonded contracts.
The main reason I'm here is to clear my name that I have nothing to do with Bitcoin, nothing to do with developing. I was just an engineer doing something else.
Okay.
And if you look at the time span, 2001, when it was supposed to be developed, I wasn't there. I was working for the government through a contracting company.
Whether this Satoshi was an individual or an alias doesn't necessarily matter, because that name would change the world forever. Although it was not the first decentralized digital currency, it was, however, the most eye-opening. It acted as digital coins that you can send or pay for stuff throughout the internet. This so-called internet money was the first format of transactions that didn't require banks or a central authority. This meant the fees were lower. The coins could be used in every country. There were no prerequisites or arbitrary limits. This is what the world needed due to the Great Financial Depression of 2008.
How many banks failed last year?
25.
How many do you expect to fail this year?
It's going up. There have been 16 already now, and so our loss projections are going up. We're having to increase premiums on banks to address the loss projections going forward. It's a very distressed environment right now.
Thanks to blockchain technology, it eliminated the need of banks and regulated payment processors. Every single transaction was recorded in a database or ledger on computer network nodes. This meant that everyone who participated in this peer-to-peer network could stand as a witness to everything that transpired in this interlink. Because this technology was based on data blocks, it meant that the information on it could not be altered or controlled, and that's what made it decentralized.
It serves no purpose. It's not a store of value. It's not a medium of exchange. And as we have seen, if you want it decentralized and not under government control, it is a haven for fraudsters. And now it is in the process of going to zero, except for Bitcoin, which will probably go negative, because if we're moving into a world with carbon taxes, you have to take into account the energy that it took to produce it in the first place.
Like anything on the internet, it housed a lot of skeptics because most people didn't know what it was. It had a bad impression on the press, being labeled as a Ponzi scheme. It was mostly used by anti-state groups like cypherpunks, libertarians, and techno-anarchists, who mostly cared about its privacy and the ability to make non-disclosed transactions. The reason why it didn't have quick adoption to the general public was because it was practically worthless at its first launch. Given how it was only worth 0.003 per coin, and how its enthusiasts posed in a cult-like fashion that made grandiose claims about it being the currency of the future and how it will change the world.
Bitcoin, the world's biggest, has now broken into new territory. It's heading towards $90,000 a token. It's since pared back a bit, now it's trading around $87,000. Traders are looking forward to a new crypto-friendly administration and the potential for new regulations.
The first transaction to be made by the coin was to buy pizza at the price of 10,000 Bitcoin. The transaction gained the first acknowledgement of its potential. Despite its cynicism, the innovation behind its technology was still solid, as it would later improve things like supply chain management, healthcare, voting, asset management, and a lot more, which led a lot of fanatics in the cryptocurrency space to form innovative ways to improve how this technology worked, which led to the birth of the Ethereum network. Created by Vitalik Buterin in 2015, a lot of people in the crypto space thought it was a ripoff of Bitcoin, but Ethereum is described by its founders and developers as the world's programmable blockchain, positioning itself as a distributed virtual computer on which applications can be developed, and yet its comparison, Bitcoin, was only used as a payment system. Because of Ethereum, there was a lot of good things that happened, like how people could recreate their own form of projects that had great innovation and good solutions to some of the problems that blockchain technology had. A few examples being the development of altcoins and popular crypto exchanges like Coinbase and Binance, which were mediums where you could buy and sell cryptocurrency. With that, there came a lot of bad things as well.
Would you describe it as a Ponzi scheme?
Yes, it's a Ponzi scheme.
But Ponzi schemes always do collapse.
Yes.
And this will too?
I understand the argument that it hasn't collapsed, but the numbers in crypto are not real. 1 million people lost access to their accounts at FTX. 1.2 million Americans.
Lost access?
They can't get their money out.
Because?
Because he was running a Ponzi scheme.
There was a lot of gaslighting that happened in the crypto space, as when Bitcoin surged into a net price of $20,000 in 2017. This was the initial time where everyone started to talk about Bitcoin, which resulted in a slaughter-themed montage of scams, with fake, unqualified, or illegitimate companies positioning themselves under the ruse of initial coin offerings.
You know, it's I started asking now almost everybody we interview, because I'm fascinated by that. Like, what do you do with your money, right? If we interview. One of the episodes we did this season was about crypto scams, and we spent time with these like 3 20-something-year-olds who made millions of dollars out of crypto scams. And these, have you heard of rug pulls?
Rug pulls?
A rug pull?
No.
Their ideals and aims were illustrated by a document called White Paper. This was a way for them to raise money from the public. All 99% of them were making false, unrealistic promises and rug pulls. Timed by when internet meme culture was at its peak, a non-fungible token in the form of art, created by Michael Joseph Winkelmann, that had a collage of 5,000 images, was sold for $69 million. This created another mass wave of all sorts of picture memes, in the form of art selling for ridiculous amounts of money. Hype and attention on social media, as well as celebrity culture, became the central theme, which led to millions of dollars being flaunted around. Despite how the only true value of this NFT technology was proof of ownership. And just like the dot-com bubble, this space became a complete nightmare, which later led to government intervention, with the SEC trying to regulate it, which ultimately led to the major crash of 2018.
Over a year ago, I made $2 million and I come back. It's like a joke. It's like a nightmare.
Here's a story about 2 entrepreneurs who were obsessed with creating marketing funnels.
This is the story of probably the longest year of my life. Starting out, we were on top of the world in the middle of the recession, and we were thriving and having so much success. And then literally overnight, we got all of our merchant accounts shut down.
It all started in 2014, where they were both so frustrated over how much time it took to build a sales funnel successfully. Through a lot of trial and error, they band together and came up with the idea to create a SaaS, or software as a service company, called ClickFunnels. The duo put it on the market, but still couldn't find impressive success. However, they had an event where they presented the software to a large audience, and it sold beyond their expectations. This would later be the basis of their automated sales webinar funnel, which gained them 10,000 users in their first year. ClickFunnels later became one of the fastest growing, non-venture capital backed software company in the world, generating $100 million in revenue in just 3 years. But why was it really successful? Russell and Todd had created a sales funnel that describes the customer's journey from vague desire through investigation, product comparison, down to when they made a purchase. What made it special was that it was an all-in-one marketing tool that helped entrepreneurs and marketers to design and build sales funnels without the help of a programmer or a web developer. ClickFunnels was so advanced that it could integrate third-party software for email marketing, lead generation, payment processing, and more. It was pretty simple to use, straightforward, and easily manageable. An example of a good sales funnel consisted of a good landing page, nurturing those leads by offering free value like a webinar. Make a sale to those leads, analyze those results and feedback, then rinse and repeat. And all this was made simple by Russell and Todd through their software features, which later gained the infamous name funnel hacking. But what came after this victory was a lot more stomach turning.
At 24 years old, I became a millionaire.
Look, since I've been 23, 24 years old, all the way back to 2013, almost a decade ago, I've never failed to make less than $1 million in a year.
Today's video, I want to talk about money, specifically the key things that I learned about money that helped me become a millionaire.
In September in the year of 2015, an interesting figure called Ty Lopez made an ad online.
Here in my garage, just bought this new Lamborghini here. It's fun to drive up here in the Hollywood Hills. But you know what I like a lot more than materialistic things? Knowledge.
This ad gained 69 million views, changing the internet marketing game forever, paving the way for online gurus that generated cult-like followings in the thousands to emerge, making personal branding a household name. Also paving the way to a lot of predatory marketing tactics. As someone who fell victim to this, so to speak, I basically wanted to unveil how their process goes down. First, you had to pose or stand as an industry expert at a particular topic, be it
social media marketing agency, dropshipping business,
Amazon FBA, self-improvement, copywriting.
The list is endless. The second was to target a painful problem or an insecurity that you're experiencing, your finances, for example.
Repeat after me. I don't need money. I need a better strategy. Again, I don't need money. I need a better strategy.
The third was an emotional hook that gave you intimate details of their story and how they can relate to your personal struggles.
Me and you are actually quite the same. You know, I went through so much pain and struggle growing up.
Then the hard, actionable steps they took to get to where they are, despite all odds to make you root for them.
I thought I'd share the 4 steps I took to go from working at Tim Hortons on minimum wage to now making over $1.3 million.
Then how through the years, they devised a simple handheld step-by-step process to help you solve your problems way beyond your expectations, which makes you like them even more.
I'm going to show you today how to get through all this rejection and disappointment, discouragements, the hang-ups. You got to change the way you look at money. This is not money right here, okay? This is not money, this is just dumbness.
In addition, they may rebrand an idea that has existed through the test of time and make it their own for the genius behind their marketing.
Now let me walk you through exactly how I do this method that I like to call the HPP system. Basically, the way that the HPP system works is you go find a high payout partner product, you generate simple videos using a special software, and you promote the high payout partner product with those videos. Now I already know what you're thinking, Matt, that just sounds like affiliate marketing, right?
Remember what we talked about that made a good funnel? The product they sold came in the form of an ebook, an online course, coaching program, or membership. But first, they had to offer you something for free to run you down the classic Todd and Russell funnel. This was the time where Facebook and YouTube ads exploded, roping in thousands of people into this dimension, which created an influx of all sorts of individuals all over the internet that made these gurus rich. The product they sold or marketed didn't really matter anymore, because it was now all about having a charismatic personality, exceptional speaking capabilities, a fascinating lifestyle, and a big promise to their followers that they too can be rich just like them. I'm not here to tell you that all online courses are a scam, but discerning a good one may take a little bit of skill, since most of them are marketed the same. Instead of the success rate of all the people who take these courses being disclosed in their marketing, the rate of success on average is lower than 10%. Only the most successful students were pushed to the forefront of their marketing campaigns to drive in more sales, which ended up creating an oversaturated red ocean of business models that we see today, hidden behind a paywall. AI hit global mainstream in 2019, around the time where the pandemic was hitting waves around the globe. And because of it, there was a huge shift with how we interact with the internet more than ever. This would be the dawn of the AI boom, as an infamous company called OpenAI, led by Elon Musk, at the time would soon release its best product yet.
We really need some
new AI company to serve as a counterbalance to Google, because at the time they had almost all of the great AI researchers. They had massive computing power, massive financial resources, and it was very much a unipolar world with respect to AI.
Artificial intelligence is described as a specialty within computer science that is concerned with creating systems that can replicate human intelligence and problem-solving abilities. They do this by taking a myriad of data, processing it, and learning from their past in order to streamline and improve in the future. Although the groundwork of AI began in the 1900s, it started to make strides in the 1950s, despite how it still needed work from early experts who were involved in several of its related fields for years on end, through the works of pioneers like Alan Turing, who published Computer Machinery and Intelligence, which proposed a test of machine intelligence called the imitation game in 1950. A computer scientist named Arthur Samuel developed a program to play checkers, which was the first ever to learn the game independently in 1952, and John McCarthy, who held a workshop at Dartmouth on artificial intelligence, which was the first use of that word, and how it came into popular usage in 1955. There was a lot of advancements in AI's technology since then, like large language models that included ChatGPT-4 and many others, text-to-image models like DALL-E, and also applications that had models that were being used for content creation, art, and design. Since the 1950s to the present day, AI is now a $184 billion industry, and by 2030 could be estimated to be $800 billion, which is being heavily driven by the arms race of tech giants and AI startups. Based on this information alone, you can see how this has drastically influenced the industry of making money online.
Jumping straight into one of the first methods of being able to earn money online and using AI when it comes to helping you with the first step.
Make money online using Quick AI. The best thing is we're going to be using an AI app that literally just came out today.
The final piece of this complex model that ties all this together is the metaverse. Facebook officially rebranded itself as Meta on October 28, 2021. The rebrand was announced by Mark Zuckerberg during the company's annual Connect conference.
To reflect who we are and what we hope to build, I am proud to announce that starting today, our company is now Meta. Our mission remains the same. It's still about bringing people together. Our apps and their brands, they're not changing either. And we are still the company that designs technology around people.
This change was part of a broader strategy to shift the company's focus from being primarily a social media platform to becoming a leader in building the metaverse. But what exactly does that mean? The metaverse was defined by Mark as a digital space where people can interact in immersive and virtual environments. This was the future where virtual and augmented reality would play a central role in daily life, and the Meta Corporation wanted the company's name to reflect that vision. Zuckerberg emphasized that the rebranding was not just a name change, but was part of a long-term vision. He believed that the metaverse would eventually replace mobile internet as the primary computing platform, just as mobile had largely replaced desktop. By rebranding as Meta, the company positioned itself as a pioneer in this emerging space, aiming to shape and lead the development of the metaverse over the coming decades. This led to a lot of big tech companies like Nvidia, Google, Apple, and Microsoft, and countless others to jump on this trend. The metaverse is said to be marked as the starting point of Web 4.0, as it, along with the emergence of AI, will shape the future of how we use the internet forever. But will it?
Shares of Facebook parent Meta have been pummeled this year. Steve Kovac joins us right now with a closer look at the company's future. Steve, whip out that magic ball that tells us what's coming.
Yeah, exactly. So let's break down the year in the metaverse, Becky. And you have to start with Meta because that's the poster child of the metaverse right now. Just a year ago, Mark Zuckerberg bet the entire company on the metaverse concept. Today, shares in Meta down 65% on the year.
There's a big divide within the public. A lot of skeptics highlight how the dangers of this futuristic technology will affect our lives by how addictive it is, its unpredictable growth, and how much it's manipulating the state of our well-being. For example, the violation of privacy. This doesn't help its case, given how Meta has burned over $100 billion into its technology, which resulted in a lot of its employees being let go with not much to show for it. Not to mention its so-called predecessor, Web 3.0, has been around for a decade and still doesn't hold up to its promises till this day.
But this time, the message had really changed.
There's this new word everywhere, Web3. The future of the web, I was being told, was going to be powered by crypto and blockchains. I was reading that finally we were going to fix the web, and that got my attention. But that Web3 I started to read about earlier this year, amidst the advertisements of fortune favors the brave and crypto fanatics yelling about going to the moon and telling everyone else to have fun staying poor, that's not quite how I expected that we might get there.
Chief Executive Mark Zuckerberg has been showing off what he calls the first mainstream mixed reality headset that merges virtual reality with the real world. The firm's also announced a team of AI chatbots with different personalities and their own areas of expertise, and it's revealed a new set of Ray-Ban smart glasses with AI built in that can film and upload videos and answer your questions.
The models of the metaverse's success and potential remained prevalent despite its perceived failure, because the concept of the metaverse, just like blockchain, still works. This can be seen by modern video game companies that have adopted them. Take Epic Games for example. It hosted a hypergraphic metaverse Travis Scott concert, all within Fortnite. The company behind it has been fully dedicated to creating their own metaverse ever since. Not to mention how Roblox for years had been developing its own version of the metaverse, to a point where they became so advanced that they started to house their own stock market and created their own virtual currency with real world value, which means that everyone who adopted it and crafted it really well ended up getting rich from it, with the prime example being Epic Games having generated $9 billion in only 2 years. Even though all these innovations have not been perfected, with the way things are moving so fast and unpredictably, who knows what the future holds and what will really happen next. But the question is, how does any of this connect with you? Based on the previous question I just asked you, you're probably someone who's been struggling to start a business or a cool project online, and you don't really know what to do. Or maybe you have started, but you haven't made much progress. For a couple of weeks, months, or even years, and you're obviously thinking, how exactly am I going to find my moment? Or if it's ever going to happen at all.
You know, what it keeps coming down to is your passion, your vision, and you know, how do you order your priorities in there? What's important to you in the development of a product?
This is my first day of filming and I don't know what to do. This project is like 36 minutes long and it looks so choppy and horrible and terrible at the same time. I have no idea if I'm ever going to be a good filmmaker or documentarist-ish. Yeah.
One of the things that really hurt Apple was after I left, John Sculley got a very serious disease. And that disease, I've seen other people get it too. It's the disease of thinking that a really great idea is 90% of the work.
I personally have been on this journey for as long as I can remember. I started by trying to figure out how to make any kind of money online. I've tried making content, I've tried building a website, I've been scammed a few times, listened to empty motivational hype.
I will pick you up with one hand by your titty.
Fell for the overhyped shiny objects. I've tried almost every online business model that you can think of. And to be honest, none of it really worked. And I ended up feeling discouraged after years of failure.
We worked hard, and in 10 years, Apple had grown from just the two of us in a garage into a $2 billion company with over 4,000 employees. We just released our finest creation, the Macintosh, a year earlier, and I just turned 30. And then I got fired.
My biggest dream was to escape the reality of this small corner of my closed up and shattered world. I didn't want to be rich. I just wanted a future beyond living through the streets every day and taking care of my mom.
Apple at the core, its core value is that we believe that people with passion can change the world for the better. That's what we believe.
These are not 3 separate devices. This is one device. And we are calling it iPhone.